So what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? As the caption, you see the caption, probably about an hour ago, I was nearly ran off the road, or actually ran off the road and hit, almost head on in a T-bone by a reckless driver. Fortunately, I'm here to tell the story. Or unfortunately for some of the people who watch these videos and really don't, like the things I be talking about. Nevertheless, I want to thank God for, not allowing the accident to be as serious as it could have been. Now, you see my car. If you see my car in the caption, it's literally like off the road, like almost off the road. And where that location is at the end of Olivia Lane in what is called the Old Projects and the intersection of Audubon. It is right there in that big field. That's where you see my car. Now, this is how the accident happened. I'm traveling from Slocum Street on Olivia Lane, passing through the projects, passing through Slaughter, Hugh Street, Poplar, the White Store, all the way down to the end of the street. Now, when I get to the end of the street, I'm going to make a left on Audubon. So when I get to the stop sign, I stop and I look left and I see this car, this great car that you also see in the picture. Now, this car is probably about 75 to 100 yards away. So I start to make the left turn. And as I start to make the left turn, I see this car swerve over and get in my lane. Now I'm making the left turn, and so this car is coming right at me, right? Now I realize the car is at least going 60 miles an hour. The car going 60 miles an hour, and as I'm turning left, this car gets into my lane and just heads straight at me, like coming directly at me out of her lane into my lane. And so at that point, I see that she's literally heading right for me to hit me on the side. So I stopped turning and try to drive straight off into the field because I realized that this lady is going at an outrageous speed and evidently she's not paying attention. But I really think she was trying to hit me, nevertheless. So when I'm making a left turn or almost making a left turn and she's coming at me, so I stop making a left turn and I just try to drive straight. She still continues to come straight for me, and at the last second she swerved back into her lane, almost back into her lane, but she still hits me on the tail end where you see my car is being hit. So I'm like, what is going on? So she stops. Her car is, like I said, so when she hit me, I'm like this, she boom. And then mind you, when you see my car stop, I'm already in the field. I'm already off of the road when she hits me. I'm off of the road in my lane. So much so trying to avoid her hitting me while she's in my lane, right? And so she gets out the car and say, "Why you run the stop sign?" I'm like, "I did not run no stop sign. You are in my lane. Why are you in my lane?" She's like, "Well, I swerved to Mr. Blunt." I'm like, "So why you driving so fast?" And then she's like, never mind. I'm going to move my car. So she moved her car out the middle of the street and she turns it around right in the back of my car, facing my car. So she asked me, "Well, do you got insurance?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "What you gonna do? Call the police?" I'm like, what I'm supposed to do? So then she gets back in the car. I call the police come. I don't know why, but he automatically goes to her car first. "Hold on, I'll be back. I'll talk to you." So he goes to talk to her. And then, she tells him whatever. He comes to talk to me and I say, "Yeah." I stopped at the stop sign, started to make the left turn. Her car is way down the road, but she's speeding excessively and she's in my lane. She drifts over to my lane and she stays in my lane until the last second. And then that's when she veers off and avoids hitting me straight on the passenger side, she hits me in the back of the car. Like literally almost like she was trying to hit me on purpose. Nevertheless, the officer says, okay. He goes back to his car. He sits for about 10 or 15 minutes. The young lady, she has about two friends come up. They start talking in the car, what have you. So the police officer finally gets out. He has a little paper in his hand, so I guess he hands her a paper. And later, he tells me, well, I was like, well, he comes to me, and I was like, okay, well, what's going on? Like, do we exchange information or what have you? She was like, no. Well, I said, well, literally you can tell that, my car is in my lane. I'm actually off the side of the road, like trying to avoid being hit. He was like, well, I really can't tell who's at fault. So what I'm going to do is make a police report, and, then you can come down there and get her information or insurance information. So I'm like, what do you mean you can't tell whose fault? Like, you literally see my car off the road while I was hit. Like, I'm literally, if you can see my other tire, it's in the field. I'm off the road as I was hit while this person is driving in my lane, right? Well, he says, well, yeah, I can't tell who's at fault or whatever. And, I was like, well, did she have a license? He was like, no, she just has an ID or whatever. So I said, okay, well, and then so, I tried to talk to the lady. I was like, well, she said that you ran the stop sign. I was like, for real? Like we really gonna do this, right? I'm trying to talk to a, person to person without, and why do I think that people are going to do the right thing? I don't know. But nevertheless, she continued to contend that I ran the stop sign and she was just swerving over to miss a bump or whatever. So then her other friend jumps in and, he gets all irate and angry. Man, it's over. Your father's a pastor and this and that. It's over. Go have it. I'm like, yo, what you got to do with this? First of all, it ain't over. Like, look, it's easy for you to say your car ain't got hit, right? So he continues to get on. I don't care if the police here or not. And all this stuff, I ain't scared of the police. So I'm like, okay, this guy right here. Man, who is this guy? I don't know this guy. Nevertheless, he finally walks off. So then I try to talk to the young lady again, like, that, what I'm saying, like, you was in my lane. Like, you literally speeding in my lane. Well, basically, long story short, I just said, okay, we not gonna get nowhere. So I gotta go handle it, go get the police report, whatever. But my thing is, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, and any times a person is in an accident like that, they don't supposed to move their car. Because if the guy or, if the police, if the car would have stayed there, he'd have clearly seen that she hit my car when she was in my lane, right? So, and I didn't even ask the officer's name because sort of young guy, I guess I get the officer's name tomorrow when I go. But, I'm just floored while he can say, okay, well, I can't determine who's at fault. When my car is literally off the road, and the way she hit me, there's no way she can hit me if I turned out in front of her in her lane. Nevertheless, also, I wonder was alcohol or drugs involved. He didn't attempt to breathalyze either of us or anything like that. I literally told him, like, yo, she was driving on the wrong side of the road going at an excessive speed in this residential neighborhood, right? He just says, well, I don't know who's at fault, or, you guys can exchange, insurance information, but I can't fill out a police report. I'm like, nah, I need you to fill out a police report because, somebody's at fault here, Nevertheless, he didn't make the judgment call, which, I got pictures and everything. You see my car. And once again, like, this is, like, if you look at my car and you see where my car is positioned, I'm literally in the field. It might be a backwards picture, but I'm literally in the field. I had to drive in the field to stop this lady from hitting me. because she was in my lane, right? I'm in the field as I get hit, basically, right? But this officer, whoever he is not, I guess, versed or is not capable to make that decision. So I don't know where do I go from here as far as proving guilt. I'm pretty sure that this lady is going to try to say that her two friends were out there and saw the whole thing, which they were not, because that's what the gentleman tried to say. Yeah, you ran the stop sign and she hit you. And I'm like, bro, you won't even out here. Nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? That's neither here nor there. But I'm gracious and fortunate that, you know, the accident wasn't serious. Nobody was incurred any bodily harm, but you know, it just was amazing to me to see the lady just driving straight towards me in my lane with, you know, no regard. Like, you don't see this big car turning into his lane, and you're 60 yards down the street and you bowling, and you coming right towards me in my lane, talking about you were swerving and missed a bump, but you don't see this big car, or you don't have the wherewithal or the logic to slow down, whatever the case may be. Nevertheless, fortunately, I'm all right. Or unfortunately, for those who, you know, might not like these videos, fortunately they want to keep coming. But you know, I just wanted to tell, you know, get that off my chest real quick. You know, whoever that officer is, you know, I don't know, you know, how they training you guys these days to not clearly see it. Once again, like, no one's supposed to move their car after an accident. Therefore, how are you going to see who caused the accident if a person moves their car? That should be automatically a admission or indication of fault. You know, but nevertheless, that's what happened. Fortunately, once again, that everybody was all right. But you know, I definitely didn't like the way it happened. But also, I definitely didn't like, you know, the police officer not able to clearly see, you know, who was at fault. But nevertheless, peace and blessings. I'm here, you're here. So, you know, today was a good day. It must be my April Fool's practical joke that, you know, the police officer couldn't see this individual was clearly in the wrong in this accident. But peace and blessings. 919-587-7782. Y'all have a blessed day.